The Octarius War. The Octarius War is a conflict that saw the Xenos forces of the Tyranids and the Orks unleash their vast numbers upon themselves. The conflict ravaged the Octarius sector, threatening the Ork Empire of Octarius itself. The war saw countless numbers of Xenos forces dead on both sides. Planets were consumed and wiped out. The Octarius War stands out from other conflicts because this war was planned by neither of the factions that were battling to their deaths. This was planned by an Inquisitor to smite two foes and make the Imperium stronger. The conflict grew so large that even Chaos drew its gaze upon the blood that was shed. Ghazghkull Thraka himself launched his wire into the fray, and he battled the Tyranid foe. Now, before we go into details of the war, I just wanted to show you how big the Ork Empire of Octarius is. They have a strong foothold in this sector. The size even rivals that of the Ultramarines and their realm of Ultramar. Within this sector, the Orks have planets dedicated to their ever-growing war machine, but at the heart of the Empire is the planet Octarius itself. If that planet fell, then the Ork Empire in that sector would fall with it. The Tyranid Hive Fleet, known as Leviathan, had swarmed and devastated Imperial space throughout the Ultima Segmentum. With each planet it consumed, it grew larger and more fierce than before. If it could not be stopped, then the Imperium would be put at risk of losing power in that area of the galaxy. An Inquisitor by the name of Kreitman came up with a genius plan. Instead of fighting the forces of the Tyranid fleet with the lives of Imperial forces, why not draw the beast towards another and let them feed upon themselves? Inquisitor Kreitman quickly used his authority to acquire several teams of Deathwatch Marines who specialise in hunting these Xenos foes. They went to the labyrinth world of Catharia, located in the Segmentum Tempestus. Their task was to locate and capture a brood of gene stealers. The Deathwatch Marines descended upon the planet. They battled through the hordes of enemies, suffering many casualties, but their mission was a success. They managed to capture the gene stealer brood and place them in stasis. With the tools of the trap ready to be unleashed, Inquisitor Kreitman moved forward with his next plan to unleash the gene stealers upon the Orks and draw the threat of Hive Fleet Leviathan towards the Ork Empire of Octarius. The Inquisitor, along with the Deathwatch Marines, boarded a Space Hulk that had recently emerged from the warp. There, they unleashed the stasis-held gene stealers to infest it. To make sure the plan was a complete success, the Inquisitor ordered a moon to be destroyed that the Space Hulk was passing. The Inquisitor teleported megatons of explosives into the heart of the moon. As the moon broke apart, the passing Space Hulk was flung from its trajectory and headed towards the Ork Empire of Octarius. The Orks were soon upon the Space Hulk. They couldn't resist plundering the vast resources that had drifted upon their empire's doorstep. The Ork looters boarded the Hulk and began ransacking, but before they could finish, the gene stealers were upon them. The Orks on the Hulk were ambushed and infected with a foul gene stealer curse. The infestation quickly spread across the Octarius sector, and Orks were embattled by gene stealer forces. Even though the Orks were successful at beating back these small skirmishes of gene stealers, it was too late. The tendrils of Hive Fleet Leviathan changed their course towards the Octarius sector. The first planet to feel the wrath of the Hive Fleet was Ork. Ork was a former Imperial world that had been taken by the Ork conquest many years before. The Orks on the planet looked upon the sky as it grew dark with Tyranid ships entering their atmosphere. The forces of the Orks quickly reacted and unleashed their devastating firepower upon the invading Tyranid force. Within the first couple of hours, thousands died upon both sides. Slowly, the Orks were pushed back and grew outnumbered. The forces of Hive Fleet Leviathan quickly surrounded the remaining Ork forces and began their final battle for the planet. By the time the moon rose high in the night sky, every orc upon the planet was dead. Their corpses turned into bioresources to help grow the war machine of the Tyranid force. The next planet to face the forces of the Tyranids was Gaia. This was the home planet of the war boss Scarfang and his dreaded Scar Fleet. As the Hive Fleet entered the planet's system, they came under a brutal attack by the orcs. Hidden minefields that were located in the system's Astrum belt tore the Tyranid ships asunder. Fire engulfed the Tyranid fleet. The orc ships pounced and began their slaughter of the Tyranid forces. But before the Tyranids lost their entire fleet, a single bioship was able to break from the orc blockade and launched itself upon the planet. The Tyranids themselves were now vastly outnumbered and had to change its tactics as it could not fight against the orc force that was now hunting them. The Tyranids began to ambush and attack small forces of orcs and retreat to cave systems as orc reinforcements arrived to help. With these hit and run tactics, the Tyranids began to acquire more biomass and eventually grow their forces strong enough to face the orcs on the planet. Warboss Scarfang, seeing the Tyranids were growing in threat, landed upon the planet himself and began to rally his orcs. His war cries grew the orcs into a frenzy. Soon enough, the Tyranids would send lictors to hunt for the warboss, for they knew if they could kill the warboss himself, then the planet would fall to them. However, the lictors were not successful in their task, as Squighounds stopped every assassination attempt on the warboss. So the Tyranids had to change tactics once more. Instead of trying to assassinate the warboss, they chose to goad him into battle and lure him into a trap. The Tyranids feinted many attacks using hordes of gaunts upon the orc defences, which made the orc warboss bellow with rage. Warboss Scarfang ordered a pursuit of the attacking force as it began to retreat. Thousands of battle wagons and war trucks sounded their war horns as they chased down the Tyranid foe, with Warboss Scarfang leading them. But this was the trap the Tyranids had been waiting for. Venomthorpe surrounded the orc counterattack in a thick, toxic fog. Orc battle wagons and war trucks crashed as their visibility went to zero. Fire engulfed the battlefield. Those orcs who survived in the wreckage quickly choked to death on the poisonous fog. Warboss Scarfang stumbled across the battlefield as the fog slowly cleared. As he looked upon his orc force, he saw nothing but death. All his boys had been wiped out. From the toxic fog, shadows emerged surrounding the warboss. He looked as he was surrounded by a horde of lictors. Before he could bellow his rage and defying roar and charge into them, they pounced and tore him apart. With the warboss dead, the orcs descended into infighting. The Tyranids took advantage and began to destroy each orc outpost on the planet until all the orcs on Garora had been wiped out. The war now continues at the very heart of the Ork Empire itself, upon the planet of Octarius. With the orcs at their strongest on the planet and the Tyranids regenerated with all new biomass, the planet runs with blood from both sides. Thank you for watching my Octarius War Explain video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I thought I would put out this video just to get a little bit more hype for the event that is coming this Saturday, and also explain what the Octarius War is and how it started and who it actually involves. I would love to get your thoughts and feedback on this. Post it down below and we can have a nice little conversation down there. See you now, have a great day, and bye bye.